think this is exactly what makes it special. Every single release that we put out, it takes a bit of time for like the fruition and for it to be appreciated by the crowds. But I think those are the best moments when we're on the stage together, the four of us. We play a song that we've released maybe a few years ago, and you're like, oh wow, okay, people actually do appreciate us coming together, and we are coming together from very different subgenres of drum and bass. And people in the beginning always questioned, like, how is Mafius gonna work in combination with Cameron Crooked? Like, how are these styles gonna work out? I think we're there to prove it, and every single time we're on stage together and we play shows, those are great memories. They kind of hype us up again to start something new in the studio again.
Hi guys, we're at Let's Roll Festival in Prague. Cameron Crooked just got here, so we're gonna go meet them now.
Hi! Hello! How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you guys feeling?
Really good, we just arrived and we're eager to play our set and just be part of the festival.
How did you get here?
Yeah, we took the train up here, super nice and easy, and then because tomorrow we have to go onwards to Zurich, to Switzerland. So yeah, it's the most convenient way, but it's super nice and comfy, and the beers are hella cheap on the train.
Nice, that's what you want to hear.
Yes, it's a fun. It's been too long, right? That's it.
Of course. Yeah, sure. Off-road. Chicken rice, yay! Nice.
Now we can sell it on eBay.
How did you all meet each other? What's the story behind this?
Rainy and I met 2006 to 2007 New Year's Eve at a party in my hometown. I saw him play, I was in a crowd, and I didn't know a single track he played. So then in the backstage, I approached him and asked him, and he was like, yeah, they were all my own tunes. And then we exchanged MSN addresses, and 2 weeks after, we started our first track. So yeah, the rest is history.
Well, I don't think I can remember.
If he can stand it, I can. Play it.
And Martin, I met in his hometown when we had a gig there, and he was ashamed of the stuff we played.
Which year was it, like 2010, I think?
Yeah.
And I went to one of their shows, and I met you at the bar, and I was like, hey man, you're from Austria as well. And then I think we hooked up online on the Producer Network back then and shared ideas and production talks. And yeah, it progressed from there actually. I just know them.
Just know them.
How did I get into drum and bass? That's a long time ago, so I have to like dig deep in my memories. Actually, I was hanging out at the skate park, and back then I listened to like the hip hop and some like punk and rock music. And some friends of mine that I went skateboarding with always, they were like, you gotta check this out. And they gave me some CDs, and it was drum and bass. At that time I didn't even know that it was drum and bass, right? And it was like a mix CD by Nicky Blackmarket called Rollin'. Actually, it had a lot of like evergreens on there. For example, Messiah. The Nine. Some Dillinger tunes, like everything that is nowadays considered a classic. I really got into it to the point where I was like, okay, so what is this music? Tell me more about it. And my friends were like, you know what? You should join us. There's a rave happening in like the town next to our little village. and you want to hop along, and so I did. I was like 14 at that time, so my first drum bass rave joined like 2003, and I fucking loved it.
I think from my brother, when I was like, I think 15, my brother, he's like 4 years older, but he told me about drum bass. I was like, okay, interesting. I think when I was 16 or 17, I went to my first rave, experienced the whole thing. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And I'm hooked since.
Here you are.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was the time where I really got into it, because drum and bass, to really fall in love with it, you gotta experience in a club or in a live spectrum. Same.
And did you have a dream job before you guys became artists?
I never had like a real job. I mean, like before I was like riding skateboard kind of professionally and like doing like studies, made my bachelor. From the income I had from skateboard contests, I was like financing that, and of course that's a dream as well. I mean, I was working at like a videotheque, like, you know, handing out like movies and stuff, so like really low paid jobs, like just student jobs.
I had a real job as a programmer. I ditched that. I'm happy I did.
I got dragged into this whole music thing really early on when I was still at high school. I've been making music since I'm 13, and it was always a hobby. But then suddenly you get booked to like small events, and I finished high school and then started studying at a technical university. And in the third semester, like, we've actually had so many releases already at that time that I could not do both things at the same time. So I just stopped studying and fully concentrated on making music and DJing.
I'm really grateful for that I could have my passion, like make my life work, because I think I'm not made for working like something I don't want to.
I can call myself lucky as well to have never really worked a 9-to-5 job, you know.
I don't want to go back, so yeah, here we are.
How do you approach the making of new tracks? Like, who does what?
I think nowadays it's like 50-50 in terms of the things we do. Like, there were times where I started like the tune and then send it to Reini, and he would arrange it and mix it, send it back, and then I work further on it. Nowadays we have some tunes that Reini starts. I think we both have our like parts that we are really good at and not so good at, and we can read each other quite well in those regards. I think most of the times, like, I'm the guy that writes like the melodies, you know. That's what I love the most about making music, just expressing emotion. And also sound design, I lose myself in like writing weird ass patches through hours that maybe create something that sparks an idea. And Reini has always been more pragmatic. And I think that's the thing why we work so well together, because where I'm sometimes a bit too avant-garde or too far out there, he kind of pulls it back and he sees the bigger picture. It's like kind of an assembly line, so you can never really tell, you know, like if somebody does something better. Sometimes we get lost in that regard and we just, go back to version 1. But most of the time, you know, after a few like revisions, we get where we want.
Usually I would say I would just start with making drums, like a drum kit, leave it as is, and then make another session, make some weird noises, some bass sounds, another session, and then on the third session I would go in and try and combine those in a musical matter. Sometimes it's just a melody, when then I put some drums on top of that, so it always changes really. I would say 9 out of 10 times I would start with a drum kit and then everything evolves around that.
What would you say inspires your sound?
Our sound is inspired by what we listen to at that time. That can be Jamie XX, Stefan Burzit, like completely other genres, but that's what we like to do, you know, take ideas from other genres and bring it back into drum bass to create something new, merge it with our own sound and then see where it takes us. Sometimes the ideas are so out there that they don't work, but we always gonna give it a shot, because you gotta try to know what's happening. It's something that maybe haven't been there before. What we really despise, to make something that we know that already works, you know, that is like recreate a drum bass track that is already there. We don't like, we always want to go into the unknown and see what happens, to surprise ourselves.
I'm really a fan of visual inspiration. So if I know I have to write something in a certain mood, I would watch videos about that mood. Let's say if I have to do something sci-fi, I would maybe watch Interstellar or some space films like Space Odyssey, just to get inspired. And sometimes just have YouTube running while I make music with some visuals.
So since Modus, your style has changed. So So how do you see, like, what direction is your style going into the future?
The style changing with Modus is one interpretation of what happened, but the thing is, the whole COVID break was more like a 2-year, like the plug was pulled, right? So you have to reassess and reevaluate what you're doing, and not playing shows also kind of makes you write music differently, you know, because when you play shows every weekend, you go to the studio during the week, it's always like, yeah, another drop has to happen or whatever. But with not playing shows for 2 years, you kind of reflect on stuff. And here, as far as I'm concerned, I was digging more into musicality, you know? That's just a big aspect of the music I haven't touched before, really. Through experiencing music more, by the truest meaning of the word, I came closer with Marcus and Ryan's scoring stuff and shit like that. So for me, it was just a natural progression that then led to Modus and not the other way around. So as far as I'm concerned, I just love playing around with melodies at the moment. But also I find myself, after writing a couple of more musical tunes, that now at this very moment I'm leaning more back into the more technical side of things, which is interesting. And it's always like a sine wave, you know, and the grass is always green on the other side, type of thing. So I think next year we'll see more releases you would have imagined I'd do like years ago. So the darker side is kind of coming back next year a little bit, I think.
Have you got any advice for upcoming producers?
I think the best advice, and that does not only go for music producers, it goes for any kind of profession that is out there, is you just gotta keep on grinding. Honestly, no master has ever fallen off the clouds onto the ground and they've just smashed it out of nowhere. They just don't tell you about it, how much time they put into their hobby, you know? That's what a lot of people underestimate. You have to go the hard way. There is no shortcut. And if there is a shortcut, the shortcut will kind of pay, like you will have to pay it back at some point, you know? Just keep on working hard, but also try to not be too influenced by what's happening outside. If you are confident enough that something is good and something is going to work because you like it, it will reflect on other people, because we kind of same, you know, like we work in a similar way. Everyone is out there, we have emotions, we get triggered by similar emotions. If you manage to figure that out, you know, the things that catches you, it will catch other people as well.
Hi, we are from Video Team. Yeah.
Marcus, nice to meet you. Hey guys, how's it going?
Christian.
Marcus. Oh, this guy.
Yes guys, this is Camo.
This is Crooked.
And we're here at the Let It Roll Festival, making our way to the merge and having a meet and greet in 10 minutes to meet all the lovely people from Let It Roll and give away some hugs and some pictures. So it's gonna be fun.
I have no idea what he just said because it's really loud, but I think we're gonna meet a lot of beautiful people right now that all have one common thing, and it's a love for drum and bass.
It looks so weird actually, yeah?
Huh?
Having two cameras, one better than me, what the fuck?
And three people doing nothing but walking.
Come here guys, come here. I would like to welcome here Cameron Crooked, Matthews, Redo, and MC Dexter. Guys, welcome at Let It Roll. You already started talking about the opening show. That's what I want to talk about it tonight. I want to know how was it, because you were working in two parts, one from Czech, one from your crew. How was it?
I mean, it's the first big collaboration we did with Modus, with another as well huge brand, Let It Roll, and they approached us to make music for them. And we thought, like, you know, why make one tune? We have quite a vision what we want to represent, get our friends on board and take care with like selecting the artists that are making music for the opening ceremony. And our boy Rito here as well made a tune and put it all together, made a nice collection of the tunes. We trust Rito, of course, and we trust the people of Let It Roll that they make like an opening ceremony that you won't forget.
Obviously there's Martin, Rani and myself, and there's Rito. We have Anix on board, who delivered an amazing tune. Kimian Low, our Austrian fellow. Synergy is in there as well. and Rage Mode, exactly. Also Austrian fellow.
Martin, you already did a track for opening show in 2018, right? Tell me the difference.
Well, back then I made a bit of a different kind of music, I would say as well. But also the whole process was, I was one of the guys we just mentioned now. Like I was one of the key laws of Rage Modes. There was approach to write a song for a bigger picture. And this time around, we were sort of curating the whole project with Pavel and Let It Roll. So that was the bigger difference, and both felt cool. But this one obviously feel more connected to because it's a bigger thing and it's more of our vision as well. But yeah, I can't wait to hear the whole thing, and like Pavel said before, and I'm excited.
So basically, we got approached by the Let It Roll guys with some text, like it was a pure text description. So we kind of had an idea of the whole universe we are in, you know. And out of that text universe, we try to kind of get a theme going, you know. And I would say we went for a theme that is quite science fiction, like Fifth Element. There's a bit of a Blade Runner, Vangelis kind of thing in there, you know. And the visual side of things we left fully to Let It Roll, because to be honest, if we got involved in that as well, maybe we could have done it next year. We're pretty bad with that.
I don't know if any of you were at the winter edition, but okay, nice one. So there actually the robots landed on a planet that was dead, and they had to save it with like starting up this terraforming station that started like producing air. And basically we taking the story from the moment when the terraforming station was like start up, and the story continues from there. We tried to be a little bit more describable so you can get the story. So I hope you're gonna enjoy the journey.
Just played your set, of course. So how do you feel after it? Are you happy with it? Did everything go amazing?
Yeah, so we just finished the set, like you said, and it was really it was really good fun. You know, our set's always very well planned. It's nice to see it come into fruition as well. We played some new stuff. We tried out like little edits and stuff. And you can only imagine it in front of your DAW. Yeah, it could work, and then it turns out it doesn't actually work. It's really nice to see the reward in action. It's always fun to play with those guys. I mean, they've been a duo for decades now, and I just sort of hopped onto the thing and being the third wheel now, which kind of feels fun though still. They included me into the dynamic, and it's always super fun.
You might be the third wheel, but we're the two broken ones.
Yes. So as far as I'm concerned, it's always good fun playing with the boys, some DJ sets, and I enjoyed it.
When we are planning our DJ set, we want to make room for all the styles that we are representing. With Matthews a little bit harder, a little bit more neurofunk and stuff. But that's as well, especially when you play on the Let It Roll stage, that's what you need, you know, lots of pressure. And I think it works just well because then the set has those like, you know, just really intense moments and as well something more melodic, and it just works out. It's fun. That's what we're all about, like having fun and don't care too much about anything else.
I mean, obviously I play a lot with Reini and Marcus, right? So I know the set. But what I love about those guys is like when there is a drop that I know the next mix, right? But what they do is like they put in a fresh one that I don't know and they don't tell me. No, it is a shock because I'm like ready and then it's always the same. I turn around to these guys and they're like, because they know I'm the target, I'm the raver, you know, it's like, it's a proof then if like I jump around and lose my shit, they know it's like, works. So yeah, it's just a pleasure to work with those guys, you know, they can have every MC in the world, but like this is my family, right? Like we did so many crazy things together, let's put it that way, without like saying something. But like, just like going with the boys, it's like holiday and like best time in the world, you know, like it's just nice to be appreciated by the best, you know.
What's your best memory together?
I think our best memories are always when the beers are really cheap when we were abroad.
As far as I'm concerned, oh nice, I'm 12 now. Yeah, fuck off. For real though, my most treasured memory was when we sold out our first label night in Vienna, and just having the night, like our set was over, the house was full, the sound was wicked, we had a good time, everyone was drunk, it was just fucking, it was a good time. I was like, yeah, I'm really proud of this moment, it's really, really nice.
They are not just single memories, but for example, like when you write a song and you're grinding and you have so many worries about if something is actually gonna work because you've spent months on a single track, for example, as it was with CNTLO, where we went through so many different versions and we were about to bin the song basically because we were like, yeah, you know what, this is not the one, this is not it. And then you're like, okay, maybe this could work, and then you play it out, and suddenly your vision actually reflects onto the crowd, and you see, okay, maybe people do not think that different from us sometimes, you know? We sometimes are in this small bubble, you know, that we get caught up in.
And how did the idea of Modus, the new label, come about? Whose idea was it?
I mean, you know, like the idea of making a label on our own was pretty like long coming, you know. I mean, like Marcus and me made like the Cameron Crooked label Mosaic for our album Mosaic in 2017, but it didn't feel like a proper label. And when like Modus came about, like after COVID, we made so many tunes together, and we felt we wanna like stamp something out, like the three of us. So we didn't want like to use Mosaic as a platform for that. We want to do something new, something fresh, because we love to work with Martin Matthews because he's just so skilled, and it's kind of like when I met Marcus, and it's just like, you know, the chemistry is there and we're just having fun, and it's laughs, and the more the merrier. So we thought like, let's do something new. And so Modus came about, because, you know, like we've been releasing with all the labels in drum bass, kind of. At some point you want to do something that's your own thing. You want to represent your own music the way you want to represent it. And well, that's what Modus is up to this date. We're in full control and it feels great. And we have like Bene as our label manager, and he's kind of the same vibe as us. He's like as well, like really strict with the vision. And yeah, we're happy. It's lots of work, but it feels really good. It's very rewarding as well.
The vision basically was, or the idea was to create a platform for the three of us where we can release the music very quickly, because sometimes we make a song in the moment within a couple of days or weeks and we want to put it out ASAP, which doesn't happen really. But in theory, we wanted to have a platform for ourselves where we can say, okay, the track is done, we know the artwork is going to be done in a couple of days, we want to release it in a month. That was the idea, because with the releases, we've always been very in control with the music, obviously, but also with the artwork and the whole story behind it. So we're very passionate about that, and with every release on Hospital or UKF we did together, we always provided the music, the vision, the visuals. So we said, let's make our own label, our own shop, our own home, and be quick with it as well.
Could you tell us what's next for you guys within Modus? What's next?
The next thing on Modus will be our VA EP, our first various artist EP with 4 new guys, newish guys. And after that, I think it's a single of you guys actually. And then the next thing is going to be a collab of the 3 of us. And then maybe a single of myself, but the whole year is already planned out. And also Q1 of next year as well. I think every 3 weeks is going to be a new song released, so it's going to be busy. And yeah, we're excited about that.
Do you think you're going to sign any other artists on the label, or is it just for you guys?
We've actually started already. We've had releases. I mean, we started out with remixes, kind of as a soft introduction to artists that we really like. For example, Rage Mode, Austrian fellow, or also Secular, also an Austrian fellow who's done a remix of Breakaway. Rage Mode did No Way Out. We've had Anix release on the label now. We've had Misanthrope release on the label. Just wrapped up the first various artist EP. It's called Modules, and we're gonna do it like either yearly or like twice a year, depending on how much music we get sent that we actually really dig. And that is from people that a lot of people out there probably haven't even heard of. You know, we go through the demos that we get sent, and it doesn't matter if it's by a very well-known name out there or by somebody that nobody has ever heard of before. The music is good, we like it, we sign it. The main priority for us is for Modus to still be Matthews and Cameron Crooked kind of thing, you know, so we can decide, okay, we've got a tune finished, we want to put it out in a month. All the other spots, they are all open for artists out there, from very unknown to very established. It's just all about the music, and it has to fit our identity.
Immortals, take this spring of life and use its energy on your quest to find a new home. We are grateful for your help, and let us all celebrate this great moment. A new dawn. let it roll.
As the method evolves, we dissolve all control.
Exactly, let's go. Okay, Kenneth, willst du bei Miete wieder beisitzen in der Mitte oder? Ja, dann geh. Reden wir nachher.
Not work, you know? How do exactly, it's trial and error, and also how do you know that something is like dig deep in my memories.
Stell dir vor, sie hat einfach nur 2 Finger.
For the record, again to start some.
Sorry, it was just a joke.